All right, so before we get started in the actual course, I want to talk a little bit about the winning mindset. The best way to describe a winning mindset would be to talk a little bit about the fixed mindset versus growth mindset. A few years ago, there was a doctor that came out and did a study and was able to label mindset into two categories just to make it easy for people to understand. So, what is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset? Okay, well, with a fixed mindset, somebody might say she's a natural born singer, or she's a natural dancer, or he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You hear stuff like this all the time. Well, this is the fixed mindset mentality, that you are basically given a set of talents and that's it. You can grow those talents, but in the mind of somebody that has a fixed mindset, they're thinking, well, I'll never be able to do this because of this. And it's almost like they use it as a crutch or an excuse of why they can't do certain things. You've seen it before. You've seen people that are paraplegic or handicapped, and they're still able to go out and outperform people that don't have the handicap. You have somebody that says, well, I've never been a good runner, or I can't run a race. And then you see some guy in a wheelchair beating the pants off of people that are actually running. And it all starts inside your mind and what you believe in and how you believe in yourself. How far do you believe you can go? How far can you throw that ball? How far can you go on that walk or that run today? It's all inside your mind. Just to explain the difference between fixed versus growth mindset, I'm going to lay out a couple of things here. So we've already talked about fixed mindset. She's a natural born singer. She's a natural born dancer. So what is the growth mindset? Well, the growth mindset would say, I'm not a great dancer right now, but with the right instruction, I can learn to dance like a pro. Some people are born with talents and gifts, but that doesn't mean that if you weren't born with it, that you can't succeed. A fixed mindset means that you believe that things cannot change. So, with a fixed mindset, your mind says, give up now while you can. So, one of your worst enemies when you have a fixed mindset is your own thinking, your own mind, things that you say to yourself every single day. So, if you listen to your mind, you can get into all kinds of trouble. What you have to do is you have to be the one in control of your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts control you. So, with a growth mindset, someone might say, in order to become successful, I need to keep going. I need to be persevering. I need to continue doing what I'm doing. I need to look out, look at the big picture, look at my goal of where I'm trying to go to become successful, and I need to move towards that goal. And the first time something taps you on the shoulder and says you need to give up, you need to drive on and fight harder. Another thing in a fixed mindset is people have a tendency to want to hide their flaws from others as well as themselves. A lot of times people will lie to themselves and they will use any type of flaws as excuses for why they're not succeeding in something that they are trying to do or something they initially intended to do. So stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself you cannot do something. You see these people that are making millions of dollars a year and you say to yourself, well, that's for a certain type of people. I'm not that way. I'm not that kind of person. That is a fixed mindset. But if you see somebody succeeding, making $1 million and saying something like, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. All I need to do is figure out what they're doing to make that $1 million and duplicate it or mirror them, mirror their attitude, mirror the action that they're taking. So the winning mindset, fixed versus growth mindset, is very important, okay? In a growth mindset, instead of making excuses, use shortcomings as a motivator and a gauge. If you have a bad day, let's say that you are trying to run a marathon. Let's say it's a 3-mile marathon. So when you have a bad day Everybody has bad days, and you're allowed to have bad days. That's another thing, too. You need to allow yourself some freedom. When you have a bad day, let's say every day you go walking or running 3 miles, 4 miles, and you're running along and you just don't feel good. You might have indigestion, or you may just feel like your muscles are sore from the previous day and they haven't recovered yet. Don't let that stop you. If you have a bad day, just write it off and say, you know what, tomorrow's going to be better. Today I had some upsets in my growth, but tomorrow I'm going to try twice as hard. So if you have anything that comes up, use it as a motivator. And like I said, it's okay to have days where you're not at full capacity. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about fixed versus growth mindset. I wanted to bring that up because a lot of times when we talk about mindset, we don't really go into the details. When someone says you just have to have the right mindset, but that doesn't mean anything. So I wanted to bring this up. Okay, so moving forward, another thing you can do to help create a winning mindset is to study other people's successes. If you want to become successful, do what successful people do and think like successful people think. Another point to having a winning mindset is learn to become a player and not a spectator. If you are the type of person that's always watching other people become successful, you're watching the world pass you by, it's because you are a spectator. In order to become successful and to have a winning mindset, you need to learn to get in the game to become the player, not the spectator, in anything that you do. You can't win a race by watching somebody else run a marathon, okay? And you're not going to do it by sitting at home and worrying about what other people are doing. So become a player, not a spectator. Now, thinking positive, okay? This sounds like, oh yeah, I've heard it before, just think positive and good things will come your way. But really, you have a choice to make every single day. Things come upon you. Every day, people have problems. You're going to have problems. Things come up. Negative situations come up almost every day, whether it's money problems, whether it's family problems. So really, you have a choice when things come up. You have a choice of either thinking positive or thinking negative. There's really no neutral. So if you have a choice, think positive. Another thing to the winning mindset, especially with what we're going to be showing you, is treat this t-shirt business that you're going to get started, treat this as a real business and not a hobby. In other words, take it serious. When you build your website, or not your website, but you build up your t-shirt store and you have your first or second t-shirt laid out and you have it in there, start thinking of it as a business. Start saving all your receipts for your taxes at the end of the year. I mean, the cool thing about owning a home-based business is that you can start writing everything off, right? Well, start thinking that way. Start saving all your receipts. If you're driving somewhere and it pertains to your business, now maybe it won't pertain to the t-shirt business so much, but really any type of business that you're in, if you're driving somewhere, keep track of the mileage. Measure your office. If you have a room that you can use exclusively as an office, get a measurement on it and just get geared up just like a business would. Start writing stuff down. Okay, so one of the things you can do to take on a winning mindset is to practice. Practice whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? When you practice, it builds your confidence. And when your confidence level goes up, you have more of a winning attitude. So practice doesn't make perfect, but it does build your confidence. And something needs to be said. I know that there are a few of you guys and girls out there that partake in adult beverages in the evenings. One of the things that needs to be said is that if you are going to have a winning mindset, one of the things that you will want to do is stay away from too much heavy drinking, stay away from drugs. If you have a problem where you're drinking a 6-pack of beer every day, I know a lot of guys out there that they drink or they smoke marijuana or whatever, and they're just not getting anything accomplished, and it's because their mind is not straight. Their mind is not clear or sober. So if you're going to do anything in life, if you're going to become a winner in anything, one of the essential things you've got to do is you've got to get rid of things that are destroying your body, things that are destroying your mind. So bottom line is, I'm not telling you what to do or how to live your life, but try to stay clean and sober during the weekday. And like I said, if you want to do something on the weekend and relax, if that's something that you want to do, I'm not telling you no, but from my experience, it's better to just stay clean and sober when you're trying to run a business, keep your mind clear, because it just takes very, very small pieces of action in order to get things done, right? Small actions lead to larger actions and successes. But if you are not sober, and if your mind is drifting around inside your head and you can't think straight, then you're not really at your peak potential. You understand? It has to do with your peak potential. So stay clean and sober, and you should do just fine. Okay, so one thing that I'm really big into is daily exercise. And I'm not talking about exercise where you wait for Saturday morning and you go walking with your wife for 30 minutes to an hour and call it good. I'm talking about daily exercise, something daily. Even if you have some sort of handicap where you are in a wheelchair, there are still things that you can do physically, for the most part, like you can lift small weights with your arms to build up your muscles in your arms. There are all sorts of things you can do. The daily exercise is not so much to make you feel better or get in better shape, but it's also planting these seeds in your mind. You do something positive, and your outcome should be positive. If you do something negative, your outcome is going to be negative. If you're exercising on a daily basis, and even if you're just taking a walk to the park and back, as long as you're consistent and you do it every day, something changes in your mind. Something drives you.